Honorable Under-Secretary General and Associate Administrator of the United Nations Development Programme, Mr. Haoliang Zhu, Honorable Ambassadors, esteemed rule of law practitioners, colleagues, and dear audience in New York and online. I am honored to address you at the opening session of the 25th Annual Meeting on Rule of Law and Human Rights at a critical time for my country, Bangladesh, where I have the distinct honor to serve as the Chief Justice since August 2024. The call to unite in promoting justice and human rights is enshrined at the very heart of the UN Charter, as it is in Sustainable Development Goal number 16. There must be no doubt that the United Nations must reinforce and upscale their rule of law support as the fundament for peace, stability, and prosperity. I call on you to support this mission regardless of historical and contemporary setbacks, despite competing priorities and in face of a sense that building robust and independent judiciaries is too daunting a task to even embark on. Our work in Bangladesh over the past 9 months is a prime example of both. The centrality of rule of law reforms in countries in transition and of the UN's, and in particular, the UNDP's ability to effectively support profound and far-reaching justice reforms with its broad and specialized expertise and its agility to scale up, deploy, and tailor support as required for transformative change. In Bangladesh, the July-August 2024 revolution led to the ousting of the previous regime and the appointment of an interim government led by Nobel laureate Professor Muhammad Yunus. Student-led protests featured an unprecedented uprising of the youth against injustice, arbitrariness, and oppression, and the stark vindication of justice. Since assuming office as Chief Justice of Bangladesh, the legacies of those young men and women who paid the ultimate price in the protests have guided my mission and hardened my resolve to restore equity and justice through a transformative agenda for judicial reform. The inherited backlog of more than 4.2 million cases and the deeply rooted distrust in the judiciary, crippled by ever-growing political instrumentalization, would not discourage me from taking immediate and resolute action. At its core, our reform roadmap aims at building judicial independence and efficiency. The UNDP supports us in its implementation with technical expertise, including an alignment with international standards and norms and advice on integrity, digital transformation, people-centered approaches, and outreach advice. Together with a growing number of international partners, including the EU, the UK, and Sweden, UNDP also supports the convening of countrywide judicial discussion on judicial independence. A recent peer exchange with South African experts on transitional justice tools supported by the UNDP reinforced my conviction that far-reaching and transformative reforms of the judiciary must be the fundament for other sectoral reform in any transition, from unjust and dictatorial regimes to stable, peaceful, and prosperous democracies. As the guardian of constitutionalism, legality, and human rights compliance of all other reform efforts, the judiciary must be the first to liberate itself from dictatorial grips and transform itself into an independent and trusted arbiter, providing effective remedies for all seeking justice before our courts. Ladies and gentlemen, inasmuch as Bangladesh must be an example of a transition towards a better future, our resolute pursuance of justice reform in volatile and challenging circumstances must remain a pillar of hope for all Bangladeshi men and women, that the promise of fundamental reforms towards a peaceful, stable, more equal, and prosperous future is being kept. When justice is absent, it will be vindicated on the streets. Reinstating justice leads us to peace, stability, and the promotion of human rights. I am grateful to the United Nations and in particular to the UNDP Country Office, the Regional Hub, and the Global Team for the unwavering support we received in justice and human rights reforms. I hope my address will inspire your deliberations in this annual meeting and reinforce your conviction to promote justice and the rule of law globally. Thank you for the opportunity to address you and to send my greetings from Dhaka.